The moment the lid of Princess Diana's old jewelry box lifted, something inside Buckingham Palace changed forever, because hidden beneath layers of glittering royal diamonds and historic tiaras was not just another priceless jewel, it was a handwritten note that reportedly left King Charles frozen in silence, staring at the words of the woman whose shadow still haunts the monarchy nearly 3 decades after her death. What began as a routine review of Diana's famous jewelry collection suddenly turned into something far more emotional, far more personal, and perhaps far more explosive than anyone inside the palace expected. Deep beneath Buckingham Palace lies a vault that most people will never see, a hidden chamber that once served as an air raid shelter during World War II. Today, however, it protects something equally powerful: centuries of royal jewels, heirlooms that carry the weight of 7 monarchs, countless royal marriages, and more family drama than the public could ever imagine. Inside this vault are tiaras, brooches, emerald necklaces, and rings worth millions, but among all those historic treasures, one collection still carries an emotional electricity that makes the palace staff whisper even today: Princess Diana's jewelry. Nearly 30 years after Diana's death in 1997, these pieces still stir fascination, arguments, and sometimes outright tension inside royal circles, because these jewels are not just decorations, they are memories. They are symbols of a woman who changed the royal family forever, and whose presence still lingers every time one of those jewels catches the light. But here is the part many royal watchers never fully understood, and it is where the drama truly begins. Most of the jewelry Diana wore during her life never actually belonged to her. Yes, the woman the world called the People's Princess was often wearing jewels that were technically only on loan. The British monarchy operates under a complicated system when it comes to royal jewels. There are 2 categories that determine everything: the royal collection and personal jewelry. The royal collection includes treasures accumulated over centuries, legally owned by the crown, and held in trust for the nation. These jewels are passed from monarch to monarch, loaned to members of the royal family while they carry out royal duties. But the moment someone divorces, steps back, or dies, those jewels return to the vault. Personal jewelry is a different story. These are pieces bought privately, gifted outside the official royal system, or inherited through family lines. Those items truly belong to the individual. And this distinction became incredibly important after Diana's life with Prince Charles unraveled. When Diana married Charles in July 1981, she was given access to some of the most dazzling jewels in the royal vault. Queen Elizabeth II loaned her the famous Lover's Knot tiara, a breathtaking crown of diamonds and pearls that had already passed through generations of royal women. Diana also wore the emerald and diamond necklace originally belonging to Queen Alexandra, and a sapphire and diamond set gifted by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. These jewels helped shape Diana's image as a global icon. The photographs of her wearing them at state banquets, royal tours, and glittering diplomatic receptions became some of the most recognizable royal images ever taken. But behind those glamorous photos was a quiet legal reality. Many of these pieces were never truly hers. When Diana and Charles divorced in 1996, the situation became incredibly complicated. And when Diana died just a year later in August 1997, the question of who would receive what became one of the most sensitive matters inside the royal household. Which jewels belonged to the crown? Which belonged to Diana personally? Which should pass to her sons? These questions triggered emotional negotiations that insiders later described as some of the most intense private discussions in modern royal history. And at the center of this entire story was a ring so famous that it became one of the most recognizable pieces of jewelry on earth: the sapphire engagement ring. Back in February 1981, Lady Diana Spencer sat in Windsor Castle looking at a tray of engagement rings presented by royal jeweler Gerard. There were emeralds, rubies, and diamonds, many of them far more expensive than the one she ultimately chose. But Diana didn't pick the most valuable option. She picked the boldest: a 12-carat oval Ceylon sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds set in white gold. The deep blue stone matched the color of her eyes so perfectly that it almost looked designed specifically for her. At the time, it cost about $47,000, surprisingly modest compared to the other rings on the tray. Yet that decision would turn the ring into something priceless. Diana wore it constantly. It became her signature piece, photographed millions of times as she traveled the world. Even palace staff noticed how mesmerized young Prince Harry would become staring at the sapphire sparkling on his mother's hand. After Diana's divorce from Charles in 1996, she kept the ring and continued wearing it frequently. But when she died in 1997, the ring became part of an emotional decision between her 2 sons. Prince Harry chose the sapphire ring. Prince William chose Diana's Cartier Tank Frenaise watch. At the time, no one could have predicted how that choice would shape the future of the monarchy. Because years later, when William fell deeply in love with Kate Middleton and decided to propose, he approached Harry with a quiet request. He asked if he could use their mother's ring. Harry agreed instantly. In 2010, when William publicly announced his engagement to Kate, he revealed something deeply personal about the decision. He said giving Kate that ring was his way of ensuring his mother did not miss the moment. And just like that, Diana's sapphire returned to the center of the royal spotlight, now worn by the woman destined to become queen. Today, experts estimate the ring's value at more than $400,000. But its emotional value is impossible to measure. Every time Kate steps out for a royal event, every time cameras zoom in during a state banquet, every time the sapphire catches the light, the world is reminded of Diana. But the sapphire ring is only the beginning of this complicated emotional map of Diana's legacy. The emerald necklace had been transformed into a brooch. When Camilla first wore the redesigned piece publicly in 2019 during a reception marking Charles's 50th anniversary as Prince of Wales, the reaction was immediate. Social media exploded with criticism. Many royal watchers felt the redesign was disrespectful, arguing that a jewel so strongly associated with Diana should have been preserved or passed to her sons. Others went even further, calling the transformation tacky and appalling. Some believed the piece should have gone to William or Harry rather than being altered by the woman whose relationship with Charles had once shaken Diana's life. Supporters of Camilla quickly defended the decision. Legally, they pointed out the necklace belonged to the crown. As the wife of the future king and later queen, Camilla had every right to wear it. Jewelry experts also explained that the redesign had been carefully executed and did not diminish the piece's value, which today is estimated between $100,000 and $137,000. Still, the emotional reaction revealed something powerful about Diana's legacy. When anything connected to her appears in public, logic and legality often take a back seat to memory and feeling. Interestingly, when Kate Middleton later wore the same brooch at Horse Guards Parade in 2022, the reaction was far calmer. The contrast showed how strongly public perception can depend on who is wearing the jewel. But perhaps the most surprising chapter of Diana's jewelry story does not unfold in Buckingham Palace at all. It unfolds thousands of miles away, in California. Because when Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties in 2020 and moved to the United States with Meghan Markle, he took several of Diana's personal pieces with him. Among them were gold butterfly earrings and a Cartier watch that once belonged to his mother. But the most striking piece in Harry's possession is the aquamarine cocktail ring, a stunning emerald-cut aquamarine surrounded by diamonds. Unlike Diana's deep blue sapphire engagement ring, the aquamarine stone has a softer, lighter blue glow. Diana often wore it during the final year of her life, pairing it with summer outfits and lighter-colored dresses. In May 2018, Meghan Markle wore that aquamarine ring during the evening reception following her wedding to Prince Harry. It was a subtle but powerful tribute to Diana, a signal that Meghan understood the emotional weight of joining the royal family. Today, the ring occasionally appears during Harry and Meghan's public appearances in California. Royal watchers still notice it instantly whenever it catches the light. And this is where the story of Diana's jewelry becomes something bigger than royal fashion. Nearly 3 decades after her death, these jewels have scattered across the world like emotional markers of her legacy. Some remain locked beneath Buckingham Palace, some shine on Kate's hand during royal banquets, some appear on Camilla during formal receptions, and some have traveled with Harry and Meghan across the Atlantic. Each piece tells a different chapter of the royal family's ongoing story. The sapphire ring on Kate's finger represents continuity, a reminder that the monarchy moves forward while carrying Diana's spirit with it. The lover's knot tiara symbolizes the role of the modern Princess of Wales, linking Kate to the woman who once wore the same crown beneath flashing cameras. Camilla's redesigned emerald brooch represents the complicated reality of royal history, where legality, emotion, and public opinion often collide. And Harry carrying Diana's aquamarine ring to America represents something else entirely. The idea that royal history is no longer confined to palace walls. But perhaps the most powerful symbol of all remains that sapphire engagement ring Diana chose from a catalog more than 40 years ago. She did not choose the most expensive ring in the room. She chose the one she liked best. Today, that ring sits on the hand of the future queen. Every time Kate steps into a state banquet, attends a school event with her children, or greets world leaders with that sapphire shining beneath the lights, Diana's presence seems to linger in the background, not as a ghost, but as a memory that refuses to fade. Because the truth is that Diana's greatest legacy was never the jewels themselves. It was the way she transformed the monarchy from something distant and untouchable into something human. The vault beneath Buckingham Palace still holds countless royal treasures, but Diana's real secret was never hidden there. It lives in the sparkle of those jewels when they appear in public, reminding the world that behind every diamond, every sapphire, and every pearl lies a story of love, power, loss, and belonging that the royal family can never completely escape. Never completely escape.